Okay, humans, here are a few cases somehow related to sex. Some of them are kind of creepy again. These are kind of some of them almost like ghost stories or something. So please don't take this all too seriously as an example of how Chinese medicine generally sees things, but it's always fun to talk about sex, right? Okay, so uh oh, first, this is just a random thing that happens to be here. Zhuojuan is this, if I remember correctly, Warring States period, spring and autumn period, commentary and history and so forth. So the Duke of Jin, who's famous for, being sick a couple of times, he called a doctor from Qin and so Qinbo, who must have been somebody from Qin, the state of Qin, sent Yi He, which means Dr. Harmony or something like that. Um, this doctor was sent to see the Duke of Jin. The doctor said, "Oh, there's no cure for your disease. This is called being too close to the ladies' bedchambers. In other words, too much sex." This disease resembles gu, which is this black magic thing that involves supernatural insects, chong, creepy crawly things. So the disease resembles gu, but it's not due to ghosts and it's not due to food. It's from delusion that destroys the zhi, which is the spirit of the kidneys, and often translated as the will, but also it's sometimes translated as mind. Anyway, because of this, the good minister, they talk differently. So instead of saying you, he's saying the good minister, you will die and the mandate of heaven will not protect you. And so the Duke asked, females cannot be approached because he said it's from being too close to the ladies' bedchambers. And the doctor replied, there must be restraint. So he's not saying no, no sex. He's saying you have to use restraint. You can't go wild. And so that's a very, very old story that's pretty famous. Anyway, so let's get on to the cases. We have a couple from Judanshi, who's one of the four great masters of the Jin and Yuan dynasties, really famous, influential doctor. And so he's talking, or his students wrote this, but talking about Judanshi's cases. So somebody named Zheng was a 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old who had taxation of the heart and mind, which, he's studying for the civil service exam. So he's studying way too hard and is causing issues from the excessive thought and so forth. He read books at night. Every night when he was still not done at the fourth watch, every night he was sorry. Every night he was still not done at the fourth watch, which means like almost dawn. The fifth watch is the last watch of the night. So this might be 3, 4 in the morning, something like that. He suddenly got sick and lay down in his room. However, when his yin touched something, and yin is sometimes a phrase for the genitals. So whenever his genitals touched something while he's sleeping, he dreamed of intercourse and semen escaped. So he's having nocturnal emissions. He's having wet dreams. He did not dream when his genitals were suspended in the air. He only had these dreams when his genitals were touching something. His food and drink intake decreased every day, and he had fatigue and weak breathing. And of course, you probably know that seminal emission means loss of semen. Semen is a major aspect of Jing essence, and Jing controls our constitution and our ability to resist disease in large part, and the process of aging and longevity. So he's losing by having these wet dreams. He's losing his essence, his Jing essence. So The case goes on. He must have used his heart mind excessively, making both fires rise up together. So, what are both fires? Minister fire and heart fire, Mingmen fire and heart fire. Okay, so both of them are overly hot. So he couldn't sleep at night. When the heart is too hot, then you're going to have dreams. And when Mingmen is too hot, you're going to have erections and stuff like that. So combine them and you're going to have wet dreams. Blood didn't return to the kidney, so kidney water was insufficient. Fire took advantage of yin deficiency and entering and settling in the lower jiao. When this heat, this fire, when it aroused the room of essence, which is where Jing is stored in men, according to certain theories, then this, when the room of essence was too hot, then the Jing boils over and comes out. Semen couldn't gather and store, and it just wanted to run out. So during sleep, it resulted in intercourse within the dream whenever his yin touched something. And from Jui Qi settling into it. So what is Jui Qi? It refers to Ling Shu. And in Ling Shu chapter 43, it says that when Jui Qi settles into the genitals, one dreams of joining with a wife or somebody. Doesn't have to be a wife, but yeah, one dreams of sex when this Jui Qi, whatever it is, it's kind of evil Qi. It's a term that's, was used in Neijing and okay, so that's Zhu Danxi's explanation. So in the upper body, Zhu supplemented his heart and quieted his shen. And in the middle, he regulated the spleen stomach to ascend his yang. And below, he used a prescription to boost jing, engender yin, and secure yang. And his disease was at ease in less than 3 months. Secure yang, secure means to close something off. So if you secure the exterior, that means helping Wei Qi keep the pores closed. And here we're securing, kidney Qi is securing the lower orifices, so nothing can slip out. It's that kind of idea. Okay. Here's another one that comes from some other source. I don't know where, but I found this case in this collection of strange conditions, which is a book that I really like a lot, a Qing Dynasty book, because it has a lot of strange stuff, and I like strange stuff, as you might know. So there's a Dr. Yu who treated someone who was over 50 years old, who was 50 something. This guy had a dark green complexion. He liked to drink a lot. So green is liver, drinking is liver. Suddenly his penis became hard and erect. Nothing could touch it, and he couldn't bend at the waist to bow because it got in the way. So if he had to bow to somebody in greeting or whatever, he couldn't bend because his penis was in the way and it was sensitive. So he even his clothes couldn't touch it. And so he constantly wore a curved bamboo basket over his penis so nothing would touch it. However, he wanted to drink wine after he urinated. If he didn't drink wine after he urinated, then, quote, qi did not connect. So I don't really know what that means. If you do know what that phrase means, you can put something in the comments. Here, is that phrase. So every time he urinated, he wanted to drink more wine. Somehow it connected qi. So this Dr. Liu says this must have been damp heat flowing into the Jueyin channels. Of course, Jueyin is liver, and liver loves the genitals. The liver main channel, the liver wool vessel, the liver channel divergence, the liver channel sinew, all of those go to the genitals. So damp heat in the Jueyin channels. He recovered after a special treatment for Jueyin damp heat. Okay. So if you see somebody wearing a basket over their penis, you know what to do. Okay. Here's another one from Zhu Danxi. This one gets weird, as if the others weren't. Someone, oops, there's the word was missing. Someone was touched by a yin evil, or I guess this is just the heading. Okay, so this is a case about someone touched by a yin evil. Touched means it's made contact, gets stuck there, something like that. The son of Vice Minister Jiang dreamed every night. So Jiang summoned me to see his son. This is Judan Shi. He summoned Judan Shi to see his son. For 2 days in a row, I felt his pulse and observed, his daily activity and his sleep and so forth. The whole time he never raised his head. He only looked down and did not properly regard people. So he was afraid to look people in the eye. He was just, kept his eyes lowered, which is not the way a male should act in ancient China. And so Ju says, there must have been a yin evil affecting him. I asked him, but he was unwilling to speak of whatever was going on. He was unwilling to speak of the ghost form that was having intercourse with him. So, there is a thing in ancient Chinese medicine about intercourse with ghosts, dream intercourse with ghosts. Sorry. And they may not have really literally meant ghosts, but it just probably meant in a lot of cases wet dreams that kept happening. Or women could have it too. Women can have sex dreams. Yeah. So anyway, I asked the servants who followed him around. He's from a wealthy household, and so he's got servants who take care of all of his needs and follow him wherever he goes. So if he buys something, they carry it for him, or if he needs something, they do it for him. So I asked these servants, and they said one day he went into a temple and he saw a statue of a maidservant. And this, stupid guy stroked the statue in the temple with his hand. He was like touching this statue of a woman. And 3 or 5 days later, they heard that he had this problem. As a result, I immediately ordered someone to go to the temple and destroy the image. Wow, Judan Shi can have a temple image destroyed? Anyway, the clay was moist in her lower abdomen. So I guess it was a clay sculpture, and clay should be dry. It should have been fired in a kiln, and it should be dry, but there was moisture in her abdomen, which is implying something is not right. And so after the statue was destroyed, then his disease calmed down. Okay, a little creepy, but maybe it's psychology. Maybe when he knew that they destroyed the thing that he touched, he felt, like, if he believed something evil. So it could be psychology. It could have been something evil in this statue. Anyway. And here's another one from that collection of Strange Conditions book, also from that Dr. Liu that we saw before. He treated an unmarried girl who was sick for a short time. Various doctors had treated her, but did not get good results. Liu saw that her belly was big, like she was pregnant. Remember, she's an unmarried girl, and she's actually unlikely to have a lot of chances to be around a man alone. So, it's unlikely that she's actually pregnant. Her complexion and pulse were rather odd. And so Dr. Liu said, have you been having strange dreams? Have ghosts and spirits been, pushing you around? And she didn't answer and ran back into her room. And then her old female servant went in, and she told her servant, during the summer, I went to cool off under the temple veranda. Temples are dangerous places to think about sex. Yeah. So I went to cool off under the temple veranda in the shade and so forth. At dusk, I encountered a wooden deity who stirred my heart. So, what is this wooden deity doing under the temple veranda? I don't know, but maybe she came out at dusk and she had all this yin coolness and she saw a handsome wooden statue of a deity. That night, I dreamed I saw a man that looked like the statue I saw at twilight, and I intimately slept with him. She slept with this statue. I have felt sick from this. Yeah, I felt sick from this. I blush with shame. Oops, a typo. Sorry, I'm getting sloppy with typos. I blush with shame and don't dare to report it. The doctor knew this somehow because he was asking about my dreams and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So the old woman told Lou, and Lou said her facial, maybe she came back out, your facial complexion is sometimes red and sometimes white. This is a sign of shame. You're ashamed of something that happened. Your pulse is sometimes large and sometimes small. This is a haunting. I've seen that in more than one place, that a pulse that's sometimes large, sometimes small has to do with possession by an entity. Okay. The complexion and pulse of this disease conform to each other. Although it's acute, you're not really suffering. She basically feels okay, something like that. Then he boiled taoran, which is, a blood moving herb. Blood and 6 or 7 pieces of something that looked like pig liver came out of her from below. So it's like she had a miscarriage or she had something in her uterus that, was not correct. All of these things had orifices that looked like fish eyes, and then she was all better. Or maybe she really was pregnant and he induced an abortion. That's also another possibility. And then to preserve her dignity, the family, has this story. So that, I mean, if she actually slept with a man, that would be so shameful. And as shameful as this is, it's less shameful than, her not being a virgin, an actual virgin. So that's that story. There is a another story. Let's see. This is from Gujin I An, which is ancient and modern medical cases. And the person who collected them, his name is Yu Jun. He's going to make a comment at the end. A teenage son of the Yole family from Wuxi indulged in wine and women. He soon became ill and didn't recover for a long, long, long time. The situation was critical. He suddenly said to his family, I constantly see 2 magnificently dressed women, but they're only 3 or 4 tall, 3 or 4 inches tall. So, these are tiny. They climb up my feet and walk slowly up to my lower back, and they submerge into my lower back. His family took them as evil spirits, but a famous doctor came and examined the son. And the famous doctor said, they are kidney spirits. When kidney chi is cut off, the spirits are not guarded in their residence, so the patient sees them. So he's saying there's supposed to be some spirit in the kidneys. And actually, this is a concept that you do come across here and there, that each organ has not only one of the 5 spirits, like, the Shen and the Hun and the Po, but also something that's more related to the physical aspect of it. And so there are 2 kidneys. He saw 2 females, and he had been indulging in wine and women. So he had been overworking his kidneys. And so they no longer felt anchored into the kidneys. And so now they came out and he could see them. Okay. So the person who collected the stories in this book, Ancient and Modern Medical Cases, notes, let this be a warning for people who are lustful. The origin of human life is the kidneys. The onset of human disease is also in the kidneys. The kidneys are the root of life. Why would somebody indulge in the pleasures of passion? because it feels good, right? If they do, they're choosing the misfortune of death. So those are my cases for today.